Good afternoon, sports fans. We've made it. We have made it to Selection Sunday, a holiday for sports fans, basically. How are we doing, everybody? What up, Bailey? What up, Buddha? What up, Merlin? What up, Lurkers? How we doing? I'm going to go pretty quick because I got to get this over to YouTube today. Right after this is live. I was up till 2 a.m. last night watching the end of the games. You know, Grand Canyon was playing. My Ducks won the Pac-12. Fantastic finish. Fantastic finish to the final Pac-12 conference tournament. It was great. Buddha, appreciate the 15 months. Appreciate the support, sir. 15 months of watching bot crimes on this channel. Wise words. Appreciate the extended support there, brother. I was up to 2 a.m. I'm tired. I slept in until 9-ish, and then went right back to work here. Make sure we are as accurate as possible as projecting what the NCAA tournament committee is going to do here at 6 o'clock Eastern. We are just under 2 hours away before we find out where your teams are. Bailey was up till 5 a.m. vomiting. Okay, well, that's a different way of handling the night. I'm sorry to hear about that, Bailey. Thankfully, she didn't keep me up. But yeah, I was up watching the games. It was a heck of a day. Very unpredictable the past few days. And first things foremost, I want to go over the criteria the committee uses that I use as well to try to project how this thing's going to happen. Number one, net ranking. That's important. Takes into account strength schedule, wins and losses, where you beat the teams. Was it neutral site, home, away? And they kind of categorize like that. Quad 1 wins is important. Quad 2 wins is almost as important. And quad 3 and 4 losses, those aren't good. You don't want to see those. Also, strength schedule, non-conference strength schedule is important. And then they use other things that are on the team sheets like RPI, KenPom, all that stuff. And then, of course, there's the eye test. So they also have no problem leaving out teams if they know there's certain players that aren't available for the tournament. So keep that in mind. Providence, one of those teams. We've been without their best player for a long time now. I was up till 11 a.m., says Buddha. Or 11 p.m. Hey, you got some good sleep then. All right, well, without further ado, let's show you guys the bracket. It is done. Barring UAB beating Temple, which is going on right now. Big Ten championship doesn't matter. I have Illinois where they are. I have Wisconsin where they are no matter what. Assuming UAB wins the tournament for the American Conference, this is what it's going to look like. This is as of 4:15 p.m. on Selection Sunday, March 17th, 2024. All right, let's get into it. UConn, number 1 overall seed, won the Big East last night. Face the Peacocks of St. Peter's out of the MAAC. The Peacocks give me anxiety every time they're on the bracket because of what they did a couple years ago as a 15 seed. Moving on, we got Nebraska. The Cornhuskers got bounced from their Big Ten tournament last night, facing Dayton, the Flyers of the Atlantic 10. Got South Carolina, the Gamecocks, facing the Samford Bulldogs, the winner of the SoCon. Then we got Duke out of the ACC. The Blue Devils, they'll be facing Yale, the Bulldogs out of the Ivy League, the Smart Kids. Just won on a buzzer beater a couple hours ago. Fantastic finish to that game. All right, let's go to the bottom half of the East region. The Auburn Tigers crowned the SEC champions this afternoon. And they'll be facing Colgate, the toothpaste company, winners of the Patriot League. Then we got St. Mary's, the Gales, winners of the WCC, facing the Cinderella Story, won 5 games in 5 days just to get on the bracket. North Carolina State, the Wolfpack. incredible feature, incredible run that they had the last 5 days. UAB is up 43-27 halftime. All right, perfect. That means I don't got to change my bracket if that holds up. All right, moving on. Clemson Tigers out of the ACC. The 7 seed. They'll face the 10 seed. Our first bubble matchup. A lot of drama on the bubble this year. Most drama I've had since I've been doing this since 2016. This was the toughest freaking year to seed teams and how to differentiate the teams on the bubble. This year sucked because of all the bid steals, but it is what it is. I've come up with a system, then hopefully we'll get it right. So first bubble matchup, play-in game, 10 seed, Michigan State Spartans out of the Big Ten facing the Colorado Buffaloes, who just lost to the Ducks last night out of the Pac-12. And then we got the Iowa State Cyclones. They are in contention for a 1 seed. I have them as one of the higher 2 seeds right now, and I expect it to stay that way as well. The Cyclones won the Big 12 last night, thumping top-seeded Houston. Then we got Longwood, the Lancers, that won the Big South. So there it is, the East region. I'll let y'all take it in one last time. Buddha says, I got seed for you. Filth. Buddha with the filth jokes this morning. There we go. Let's go to the next region. We'll go to the number 2 overall seed, and that is the Purdue Boilermakers out of the Big Ten. Many thought that they would be the number 1 overall seed. I got them number 2. But they did get a 1 seed. Had they won the Big Ten today, they probably would have been in contention for that top spot with UConn. But they didn't. They got bounced yesterday in overtime by Wisconsin. And they'll be facing the winner of a play-in game between Howard, the Bison, out of the MEAC. And they'll face the Wagner Seahawks out of the Northeast Conference. That's a play-in game. That'll be either on Tuesday or Wednesday. Moving on, we got Texas, the Longhorns, out of the Big 12, the 8 seed, facing 9 seed Cinderella story New Mexico. The Lobos went on a run to win the very tough Mountain West Conference. They said, hey, we're on the bubble, no problem. We'll just play our way in. We'll win 4 games in 4 days. Screw the bubble, screw the analysts. We're just going to play our way in. That's what they did. Now we got BYU, the Cougars, the 5 seed out of the Big 12, facing the UAB Blazers, currently playing right now in the American Conference Championship. However, I do think they will beat Temple. I think Temple's going to run out of gas. That took everything out of them to get by FAU, let alone the other teams they had to beat to get here. The Blazers will be the 12 seed there. Then we got Kentucky Wildcats out of the SEC, the 4 seed, facing the Vermont Catamounts, winners of the America East Conference yesterday. And let's go to the bottom half of the bracket here in the Midwest. We got the Baylor Bears, 3 seed out of the Big 12, facing the Oakland Grizzlies, winners of the Horizon League. And we got 6-seeded San Diego State Aztecs out of the Mountain West Conference. You're going to hear a lot of Mountain West today. They'll be playing the winner of the second bubble play-in game. Last 4 in. These are the last 2 teams in the field. Texas A&M Aggies out of the SEC versus Oklahoma Sooners out of the Big 12. And that is one of your bubble games. They'll have to win in Dayton to get to San Diego State. Yeah, moving on, we got Washington State Cougars, 7 seed out of the Pac-12. They'll be facing the Mississippi State Bulldogs, 10 seed out of the SEC. I saw them play Tennessee in Nashville on Friday. They look pretty good. Marquette, the 2 seed out of the Big East, the last 2 seed in the field for me, So they are closest to becoming a 3, but they are the final 2 seed. They'll face the champion of the Summit Conference, South Dakota State Jackrabbits. And there we go. The Midwest region. Purdue, the top dog there. I see some sneaky upsets potentially. Give you guys a chance to look it over here. And then we'll move on. All right. Going to the third region, the South region. Third number 1 overall seed. The Houston Cougars out of the Big 12 got thumped yesterday by Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. But didn't matter. They're still a 1 seed. They had a heck of a year. And they are facing the Stetson Hatters out of the Atlantic Sun Conference. First year ever Stetson has been in the tournament. Then we got the Colorado State Rams, the 8 seed out of the Mountain West, facing 9-seeded FAU, the Owls, upset yesterday by Temple's Cinderella run through that conference tournament, the American. Then we got Wisconsin, the Badgers, currently playing in the Big Ten championship game, but they are firmly on the 5 line, regardless of what happens in that game. And I do think Illinois will end up beating them anyway, but it'll be a close game. They'll face a 12-seed McNeese State Cowboys out of the Southland. And then we got Alabama, the Crimson Tide, the 4 seed, facing the Charleston Cougars, the winners of the CAA. All right, let's go to the bottom half of the South. Bailey, start twerking in the chat, please. Bailey's up to no good today. She's all riled up for Selection Sunday. I get it. It's a lot of excitement. All right, bottom half of the South region. We got Creighton Blue Jays, the top 3 seed out of the Big East. They'll be facing Morehead State, champions out of the Ohio Valley. That was not, I promise you, this was not on purpose. I made the bracket the way it is. This is not, I know what you're thinking. Creighton's the BJs, the Blue Jays, and they're facing Morehead State. It's not intentional, I'm telling you. It was an accident. It just kind of happened that way. Moving on, we got Nevada Wolfpack, the 6th seed out of the Mountain West, facing 11 seed James Madison Dukes out of the Sun Belt Conference. They won that league. Then we got the Texas Tech Red Raiders out of the Big 12 Conference, 7th seed. They'll face the Oregon Ducks, who had the Cinderella run of their own as a 10 seed. They won 3 games in 3 days. They said, we're not even on the bubble. All right, we'll just win the freaking conference. Put us in. Nobody's talking about us. Well, they're going to talk about us now. We won the conference. Then we got the 2 seed Tennessee Volunteers out of the SEC facing 15-seeded Western Kentucky Hilltoppers out of the Conference USA. They won that league last night. Well, there we go. I'll give you a moment to go over the South region here. I see an upset staring right at me. McNeese State over Wisconsin. And Houston have its hands full with possible FAU Colorado State mid-major madness in the second round there. Nevada, James Madison. Creighton didn't want to play either of those teams in the second game. And that's a pretty tough 15 seed in Western Kentucky. So there we go, the South region. And moving on, we'll go to our final region. Some of you are sweating if you haven't seen your team called yet. But you might see them here. The final region of the NCAA tournament in 2024. Top seed North Carolina Tar Heels. Lost to NC State last night in the ACC championship game, but they did enough to earn the final 1 seed very debatable. You could have put North Carolina here. You could have put Tennessee here. You could have put Iowa State here. I mean, there's a lot of debate. A lot of debate for it, and Arizona has a case. But I went with North Carolina. And they'll face the play-in game between Montana State Bobcats out of the Big Sky. They'll face the Grambling. Is it the Tigers? I think it's the Tigers. Grambling Tigers. Might be the Bulldogs. I think it's the Tigers, though. Out of the SWAC conference. They'll have to play on Tuesday or Wednesday to face North Carolina. And then we got the Boise State Broncos, 8 seed, facing 9-seeded Northwestern Wildcats out of the Big Ten. Boise State out of the Mountain West at large bid. Then we got Utah State, another Mountain West team. They won the regular season. They're the 5 seed. They'll be facing very dangerous 12-seeded Grand Canyon, the Antelopes, champions of the WAC. They won it late last night. Game ended around 2 a.m. I was watching it, and then I went to bed. Then we got Kansas State, the Jayhawks, 4 seed out of the Big 12. They'll face Duquesne, the Dukes, making their first tournament in a long time, in multiple decades. They just beat VCU this morning. I was waiting for this game to end before I went live so that I had the right team on here. Because VCU, Duquesne, it depends on who won that game, what seed they were going to be. I kind of leaned VCU towards a 12, but I had Duquesne as a 13, so I had to wait, see what was going to happen there. All right, well, there it is. Duquesne won the Atlantic 10, by the way. Let's move on to the bottom half of the bracket. Illinois, the Fighting Illini. The 3 seed out of the Big Ten, currently playing in the Big Ten title game, but they're safely on the 3 line. They'll be facing the Akron Zips out of the MAC. They won that on a very controversial play last night. Kent State took the lead by 1, and the player didn't know what the score was. There was 5 seconds left in the game. He didn't know what the score was. He was up 1, and he fouled intentionally. He fouled. And what happens? Akron makes both free throws, takes the lead. Kent State goes down and misses a shot. Game over. You feel bad for the kid, but, you know, you got to know the score. You got to know the score when you're playing. All right, we got Florida. The Gators just lost to Auburn SEC championship game. I got them as a 6. Facing the TCU Horned Frogs, just barely squeaked into the field here. Wouldn't be surprised if they're in the last 4 in conversation tonight at 6. Then we got Gonzaga, the Bulldogs out of the WCC, 7 seed, facing the Drake Bulldogs. Battle of the Bulldogs here. Drake won the MVC, and now they're a 10 seed. They moved up a line because of all the chaos that happened yesterday. Originally had them as 11, now they moved up to a 10 because NC State and Oregon and all the shenanigans that happened. Then we got Arizona, the Wildcats, 2 seed. They were in the discussion for a 1 seed, believe me, but I got them as a 2. Yeah, Bailey says, what a dum-dum. It happens, though. We're all human. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Yeah, everybody makes mistakes. You know, you can't really blame it on that one kid either. I mean, there's probably was 20 mistakes by both teams in that game. You know, every game's going to have mistakes, especially basketball. It's not going to really come down to one play often. It's going to come down to a culmination of plays. But yeah, Arizona State, the 2 seed out of the Pac-12, will be facing 15 seed Long Beach State, and their mascot is simply the Beach. They used to be the 49ers, but now they're the Beach. Dan Monson's last ride with Long Beach State, fired on Monday. So what does he do? He fires up his team and says, all right, screw all this. I'll show them. I'm a good coach. They won every game in the tournament, including the championship last night, and they punched their ticket to the tournament. Talk about a legend. Dan Monson's last ride, Long Beach State, made it in the tournament after getting fired on Monday. There it is, chat. What do you think? We got all 4 regions down. The bracket is complete. I'll give you a moment to take a look. Wowza, what a story. I love it, Sabotage Casey. It's almost like it's getting ready for an ESPN 30 for 30 story, if not a movie. I mean, Dan Monson's a legend. He's been at Long Beach State for at least 15 years, in and out of the tournament, couple of good runs. He is responsible for Gonzaga being what it is today. Mark Few has taken Gonzaga to a whole nother level, but they never would have been there without Dan Monson taking them to the Elite Eight in the 90s. He started Gonzaga. Then he went to Minnesota. Now he's at Long Beach State, his last ride. All right, there it is, chat. I will show the stats now. How did we get here? How did Brett's shenanigans come up with the bracket, you ask? Well, you're about to find out right now. I already mentioned the criteria. You know, your record, your net ranking, quad 1 record, quad 2 record, and then you don't want to have any losses in quad 3 or 4. You basically categorize where teams are. They rank them via the net ranking, and then where you played them, how you did, margin of victory, strength schedule, all that stuff. And here's strength schedule, and here's non-conference strength schedule right there. So this is how we got here. UConn is the best resume, and you can kind of tell. Sure, Houston has the best net, and more quad 1 wins. But UConn, if you just look at them, they look like the best team in the country. They didn't have any bad losses. They have good strength schedule. They won the championship in their conference. These other 3-1 seeds did not. And they're 31-3. They have the best record of any Power 5 school. So I gave them top seed. You could definitely argue this last one here, North Carolina, Iowa State, Arizona, Tennessee. All 4 of those are neck and neck for that Final 4 seed. But I went with North Carolina. We'll see what the committee does here at 6 o'clock, but I went with North Carolina. And I think you can see why. You know, Arizona may have the best. Well, actually, no. Carolina has the best record, but Arizona has the best net ranking. But Carolina 9-3 against quad 1. That's a lot better than 10-6 and 8-7. And they got that 31 strength schedule. They made their title game. I could really see Iowa State being here. I really could. But I think North Carolina is going to end up being the 1 seed there. All right, there we go. We'll show you the 3 seeds. Creighton is the top 3 seed. I do rank over here on the left column. Oh, I should probably put up this. Twitch's top bracketologist. Creighton top 3 seed, Illinois the bottom. I got them in italics because they're playing right now. So this record will change. I'm aware it's not going to be that in 2 hours, right? But they're playing right now, and I'm live right now. So I got them in italics. They're right there. Auburn won today. Can't forget the title, right? Exactly, Sabotage Casey. Exactly. Yeah, claps for Dan Monson. Duke, the top 4 seed. I could see them being a 3. I could see the committee doing that, but I got them as a 4. Now, the debate kind of starts with Kansas and Alabama. I think this kind of is a separation. Kansas, Alabama through Utah State. Those are all very similar resumes. I kind of had to pick and choose what I like best. They might do a number of different variations with that group. BYU fans going to be upset at this one? Yeah, they probably will, but I mean, Alabama has a worse record, sure, but that net ranking of 9 is really solid. 3rd toughest strength schedule in the nation. 18th non-conference schedule. They didn't have any bad losses. They didn't do well against quad 1, which I could see they could drop to a 5 because of that, but everything else looks great for Bama. BYU played a terrible non-conference strength schedule. So did South Carolina. That's why I have them as 5s instead of 4s. I'll move on, make this kind of quick here. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the stats are, right? It matters what the bracket says. Nevada, San Diego State, Florida, St. Mary's. This is a huge cluster. I mean, you could do anything with these 8 teams. Even Wisconsin in that same category there. Everybody's pretty similar. I could see the committee being pretty weird when it comes to seeding 5 through 8. Or 5 through 7 especially. You could do all sorts of things with that. But this is what I thought was the most appropriate. And I do rank them, every team from 1 to 68, including the bubble teams that missed it. This is my ranking over here. As you can see, UConn starts with 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it keeps going and so on. The seed is right here. The B column. So we got Texas Tech, Washington State, Gonzaga, Clemson, 7 seeds. We'll let all the fan bases get a gander of your final stats here. Keep in mind, UAB is playing right now, so when you get down to the 12s, that record could change. Now we're starting to get to the bubble. The 9s, the 10s. Now, bold means they won their conference, so they got an automatic bid if their name is in bold. The record should be in bold too. That one, I don't know why that happened there. And here's your last 4 in right here. Colorado, Michigan State, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. I was on the fence back and forth. I spent an hour on the bubble teams today. I was eating lunch and just sat down and really analyzed the bubble. Because this bubble this year is the hardest I've ever had to decide between since I've been doing this since 2016. Very difficult bubble. What up, Truffle Shuffle? How you doing today? Very difficult to seed and place teams this year. Hardest year by far that I've been doing this. I mean, I've been doing this 8 years now. And we got our 11 seeds. James Madison, 31-3. When are you going to play Helldivers with you? I might hit you up. I got to install the game first. I kind of want to finish Skull and Bones first, though. So there we go. Now we're starting to get into all the automatic qualifiers. There's NC State. I mean, look what they did. They were 17-14 entering the ACC, and they won 5 games in 5 days to finish 22-14 and punch their ticket. Great story there. A lot of great stories this year. It's going to be fun. Now here's your danger zone. Well, really it started with the 11 James Madison and Drake and Oregon as 10 seeds. Your danger zone starts now. You might want to study these teams. Between 10, 11, 12, 13s, and 14s, a lot of upsets happen in that area. So you might pick one of these to win a game or two. Grand Canyon, I like. The 29-4. They got a lot of length. They're really athletic. They don't make any mistakes. Same with McNeese State. Really athletic. Not super tall, though, but a lot more speed, and that 30-3 record is pretty solid. And they both went 3-2 against top quality teams. I will 100% play Helldivers. Let me know, Brett. Sounds good, Sabotage. I'll play as well, says Buddha. Well, it sounds like we got ourselves a squad. And UAB, there they are. They're playing right now, so their record is not in bold yet because it will change, as might some of the metrics as well. But they are currently beating Temple. So we got them in right now. This is live. You know, game is going on right now. I know on the YouTube, people will be like,
"Hey, UAB, they're 23-11. What are you doing?"
Or they'll say Temple won the game.
"Hey, look at this dumbass. Temple won the game, and this guy has UAB on there. What a schmuck. He doesn't know anything."
Well, this is live during the game, okay? This is live during the game. So something could happen here in the next 30 minutes. Duquesne did just win, so that one is confirmed, as did Yale, the 13 seeds. A lot of really talented 12 and 13 seeds. It's gonna be some upsets. I'm feeling pretty good about the upsets this year. There's going to be quite a few. I think we usually average about 9 upsets every year. I bet you we get to 10 or 11, maybe 12 this year. There's your 14s, your 15s, your 16s, and the bubble. The bubble, chat. Dayton, Northwestern, Mississippi State, TCU, the last 4 byes that I chose. The last 4 playing in Dayton in the first round. Colorado State, Michigan State, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. It was really, really close, and it was a tough decision. And if I'm wrong about one thing, I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope Indiana State gets in, chat. It's not their fault that teams won't play them. Some of these mid-major schools, nobody wants to play them because it's a lose-lose situation. You lose to them, it's the end of the world. You beat them, you beat a mid-major. Who cares? And the coaches knew Indiana State was going to be good this year, so it was a risky move to play them and schedule them. But Indiana State did the best they could with the schedule provided. They have an outstanding net ranking. The record for the best net ranking left out of the field currently is 33, NC State, a few years back. So it seems like we're going to break that record this year with St. John's 32 and Indiana State 29. I hope I'm wrong. But I just don't see it. I could very easily see Indiana State leaping Oklahoma here. Maybe even TCU, or Michigan State, or A&M, or Colorado. But I don't see it. I hope it happens, though. I hope the committee rewards winning instead of mediocrity and puts Indiana State in. But I got to try to do this as accurately as possible, what I think's going to happen. But I do hope that I'm wrong with this one team, and I hope I go 67-68. They need to do the right thing. They are my 69th ranked team by a very, very small margin. I had to tap into the RPIs and the KenPoms to distinguish this list. Now, not much debate. St. John's, Seton Hall, Virginia, the remaining teams out, they're just a little bit below the resumes that I let in. St. John's, I know a lot of people are going to be upset with St. John's being out, especially net ranking 32 is pretty good, 4 quad 1 wins. It's going to be a lot of debate there, but I just don't. I think they needed to have a better middle of the season. If they'd been literally 21-12 and this changed to 5-9, I think that would have been enough. But unfortunately, it was not enough. And then the next 4 out, we got Pitt, Providence, Ohio State, Princeton. Princeton 24-4, really hard to leave them out, but they didn't play anybody. They didn't play a quad 1 team. I would recommend Princeton schedule more games, too. They only played 28 games. As you notice, some teams played 34, 32, 33, 35. They only played 28 games. I know the Ivy League, it's all about academics, but they need to schedule some more games. Had they played a couple better teams, they probably would have gotten in that large bid. Had they just pulled off maybe 1 or 2 upsets over a ranked team or something and scheduled them. They're 2-3 against quad 2, but they didn't play anybody in quad 1. But at least Princeton will be they'll be in the consideration. Their team sheet will be on the table in the selection room for sure. And then the next 4 out, Wake Forest, Utah, South Florida, Iowa. South Florida, similar story to Princeton, had a great season. Beat FAU. They're pretty good 5-3 quad 2 record. I wouldn't be surprised the committee lets them in, but it's the 4 bad losses that stands out and the awful strength of schedule. That's the reason why I left them out. And then other teams in consideration in no particular order: Memphis, Villanova, UNLV, Butler, Kansas State, Loyola-Chicago. None of those made the field, but they're at least in the conversation. I'm sure their team sheets are on the table. But yeah, that's it, chat. That pretty much wraps it up. We'll see how we do. Hopefully we're pretty accurate. I'm going to ship this over to YouTube, and let's have a blast watching Selection Sunday here at 6. And let's hope that Twitch does well again. I might do a follow-up, Casey. For sure on Monday or Tuesday, we're going to do a bracket tips video. So be on the lookout for that. It'll either be, I think Monday night might be the best. It'll be maybe a 2-hour long episode on best bracket tips, and we'll fill out some brackets. We'll do a safe bracket. We'll do a risky bracket, maybe one in between. And we'll do some bracket tips and history and trends that you might want to look for, some percentages over the years. We'll do that for sure. I think that would be fun. And maybe we'll do some betting against the spreads as well for the first round. I'm going to ask Kevman if he wants to do it as well. We'll see what he says. I appreciate you all stopping by. I'm going to get this over to YouTube. And, let's have a blast watching Selection Sunday. CBS, 6 o'clock p.m.